Discover the incredible, life-changing difference that will transform your gut health forever. Jamie triaged the diner, the comforting smell of sizzling bacon mingling with the sweet scent of fresh coffee. She wiped her brow, exhausted and aching, but the laughter of her children, Mia and Ethan, ran through her mind like a sweet melody. Every dollar earned at this little diner brought her one step closer to a dream where her kids would have what she never did. But behind the jovial atmosphere, whispers glided between customers, her worn-out shoes under the table a constant reminder of her invisible battle. The gleaming, green produce from local farms caught Jamie's eye one afternoon on her way home. With every fresh vegetable she bought, a piece of hope nestled into her heart. These vibrant colors whispered promises of better health, not just for her gut issues that plagued her thoughts but for a brighter future for her kids. Over the next few months, she transformed her kitchen into a haven of homegrown goodness, savoring the flavors and fighting the gut demons that plagued her. But beneath her delight, the glares and sneers from the town's elite still stung. The wealthier patrons of the diner didn't just tip well, they cast shadows that seemed to darken the small moments of happiness in her life. Then one day, Mia and Ethan dashed through the door, their innocent faces wet with tears. "Mom!" Mia cried, collapsing into her arms. "They laughed at us at school." Jamie's heart shattered in that moment. The isolation wrapped around her family, tearing down every ounce of hope that had built up inside her walls. It was this that ignited a fierce determination within her, sparking a flame against the stigma hanging over their heads. Fueled by the love for her children, Jamie set to work. She began crafting a local farm-to-table initiative bringing together not just food but a community burdened by the same struggles. "We can't let our worth be measured by our wallets," she would say, her heart beating harder as ideas sprang to life. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. The day of the community potluck arrived, and Jamie donned her uniform with pride. Potatoes and greens simmered in her pots, the aroma wrapping around her like a warm hug. Each dish symbolized her journey, not just her family's struggle but a shared experience of love, resilience, and hope. But as she looked out at the faces of the crowd, her nerves bubbled, turning her heart into a drum. Standing in front of the simmering pots, the whispers resumed, cutting through the laughter like knives. A voice from the crowd shouted, "Oh look! It's the diner girl trying to play princess." A hush fell over the gathering. The tension was thick. Could Jamie break through? Or would she allow the damaging words to send her spiraling back into darkness? In that fraught moment, she felt the weight of every gaze on her, and she knew she had a choice. Would she retreat, hiding from judgment yet again, or would she allow the love for her children and her community to lift her high? The answer to that question hung in the air as she gathered her strength. This moment would change everything. But what direction would she choose? The sound of her heartbeats filled her ears, drowning out the whispers of doubt, waiting for her decision to echo against the walls of her small-town life. Jamie took a deep breath, steadying herself against the whirlpool of emotions. She remembered Mia's tear-stained face, the way Ethan had bravely wiped away his own tears to comfort his sister. That image burned in her mind, anchoring her. It was time to stand tall. "You know what?" she said, her voice steady yet warm, cutting through the tension that had descended upon the crowd. "This isn't just about me or my family. It's about all of us." A ripple of surprise cascaded through the audience. Jamie continued, "We all have our struggles. We all have moments when we feel less than what we are. But together, we can change that." She stepped forward, the heat from her pots mingling with the warmth of her resolve. "Look at this food. Look at what it can do. It nourishes us, connects us, and supports our health." The gathering began to shift, faces softening. A few heads nodded. Jamie felt a flicker of hope ignite in the shadows. She gestured toward the dishes she had worked so hard to prepare. We're here to celebrate the bounty that our community offers. And today, I offer you not just recipes, but a piece of my heart. The murmurs among the crowd began to fade. A woman in a sun hat stepped forward, the lines on her face deepening as she smiled. You're right, Jamie. We've all faced our challenges. I've battled health problems for years, and I know how much fresh food can help. The truth echoed in her voice, and as she spoke, others stepped up sharing their stories, marching closer to embrace the moment. One by one, neighbors began to bring forth their own contributions, a homemade loaf of bread, jars of peach preserves, and dishes bursting with the flavors of their heritage. The tension melted, replaced with laughter and joy. Jamie felt her heart swell, each contribution reconnecting her with her community, each shared moment a stitch in a fabric of unity. As the sun dipped low, casting a beautiful golden light, laughter echoed against the diner's walls. It was a sound she had long desired to hear, one that wrapped around her like a warm blanket. She felt her children's small hands slip into hers, their grips tighter than ever. Look, Mom. People are smiling. Ethan exclaimed, his eyes twinkling. For the first time, Jamie truly felt like she belonged. The diner was theirs, overflowing with love and shared experiences. As the potluck continued, conversations flowed, stories tangled together, forming bonds deeper than the fear that had once held them apart. But then, amidst the joy, Jamie spotted a familiar face lingering at the edge of the gathering. It was Anna, one of the diner's wealthiest patrons, a woman whose disdainful comments had haunted Jamie since she first opened the diner's doors. She stood alone, arms crossed, watching with a mix of judgment and curiosity. Jamie's heart sank at the sight. Could her bravado withstand the ultimate test? Would she be able to lean into the tension one more time? Jamie felt the heat rise, not just from the pots but within herself. With newfound courage, she made her way over to Anna. This would be the conversation to define the day. Hey there, Jamie said softly, trying to mask her uncertainty with a smile. I'm glad to see you here. Would you like to join us? Anna's eyes flickered, an array of emotions crossing her face. The moment hung in the air, both fragile and pregnant with possibility. What would Anna say? Would this be the connection that would change everything, or would Jamie find herself faced with rejection once again? In that charged silence, Jamie held her breath, ready for whatever came next. Anna's gaze hardened for a brief moment, but Jamie could see something else behind that steel facade, a hint of curiosity, perhaps. Finally, she uncrossed her arms, the tension in her posture easing just a bit. You know, Jamie, she said, her voice measured, I didn't expect much from this gathering. Neither did I, Jamie admitted, feeling a small thrill at Anna's opening. But look around. We're all connecting in ways I think we've missed for too long. Anna scanned the room, her demeanor softening as laughter floated through the air like confetti. I guess I can see that. Her lips twitched, a nearly imperceptible smile making a brave attempt to surface. It felt like a small victory, but for Jamie, it was monumental. Would you like to share a dish? Jamie asked, nodding toward a table filled with various foods. A playful nudge from Ethan made her glance down at her son, whose eyes sparkled with hope. How proud she felt of her children. Maybe just a taste, Anna replied, her defensiveness fading with the warmth of her words. Jamie motioned toward a bowl of her signature chili, its rich aroma wafting through the air. As Anna stepped closer, Jamie caught a glimpse of the barriers crumbling. The woman had often stood as a symbol of everything Jamie had felt pushed against, an emblem of doubt. But in that moment, it didn't matter. I've tried my hand at cooking, Anna confessed, spooning a generous serving of the chili into her bowl. I usually stick to the basics. Bread and butter. Hey, sometimes the basics are where the magic lies, Jamie said with a wink, feeling lighthearted. Every family recipe has a story. Anna nodded, stirring the chili thoughtfully as if savoring not just the flavors but the deeper connections simmering all around them. Your family is beautiful, Anna said unexpectedly, glancing back at Ethan and Mia, who were buzzing near the dessert table. You've built something special here. Surprising warmth flooded Jamie's chest, pushing back the years of feeling less than enough. Thank you. It hasn't been easy, she replied, her eyes shimmering with gratitude. But it's worth it. As they chatted, small moments of laughter slipped in between their words. Jamie shared stories of kitchen disasters and triumphs. Anna, in turn, recounted her childhood memories about family gatherings, the scent of her mother's cooking, small glimpses that chipped away at her polished exterior. By the time they finished, both women felt a lightness and understanding that had parted the fog of hostility. I should probably return to my guests, Anna said, her tone amiable now. Of course. But don't be a stranger, Jamie said. They exchanged a smile, small but sincere, a thread pulling them closer instead of apart. As Anna walked away, Jamie felt a shift. The cloud over her heart lifted, replaced with renewed faith in the beauty of connections. Then, all at once, Ethan ran toward her, his little voice a joyful proclamation. Mom! Someone wants to talk to you. His eyes bulged with excitement. Oh? Who? Jamie replied, glancing around. Someone I know from school. He says he has seen you on the news. Ethan's words blurted out in a rush. A vibration of surprise coursed through her, followed by trepidation. What could this mean? With a surge of curiosity mingled with anxiety, Jamie followed Ethan, her heart racing as she threaded through the crowd. As they approached the entrance, she braced herself for an encounter that might redefine everything she had hoped for. Could this be the breakthrough she never saw coming? The moment hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. Ethan led Jamie to a cluster of children at the entrance, where one boy stood out amid the melee, his sandy hair tousled and eyes sparkling. The other kids around him were laughing, but somehow he had pulled away, his focus directed solely at Jamie. Mom, this is Max. Ethan exclaimed, the pride brimming in his small voice. He said he saw you. On the news. Jamie knelt down, her heart fluttering uncertainly at the boy's wide-eyed enthusiasm. Oh, hi, Max. You saw me on the news? What did you think? Max beamed, hands in his pockets as he rocked on his heels. You were talking about helping people. You're, like, a hero. I told my teacher and everyone. The word hero hit Jamie like a warm wave, pulling her momentarily away from the doubts that lingered in her mind. I'm not sure about that, she murmured, a touch of embarrassment creeping in. I just like to help where I can. Don't be shy. Chimed in Mia, her sisterly spirit shining. You really are. Max, she did a lot for our community. The boy's expression brightened as he nodded vigorously. Yeah. My dad says helping people is, like, the best thing ever. You should, like, come to our school and tell us more stories. Jamie glanced up at Ethan, who was watching her with an earnest smile, his little chest puffed out in pride. Her heart thudded loudly in her chest, the thought of sharing her story with a group of kids felt both thrilling and terrifying. Maybe I could, she said slowly, testing the waters of this idea. A part of her wanted to say yes, to embrace this unexpected flow of admiration. Yet, another part whispered her past failures, warning her to retreat. With a burst of confidence, Max clapped his hands, breaking that momentary pause. And maybe you could teach us how to cook, too. That chili smelled amazing. He jumped up and down as if he had just formulated the best idea in the world. A light chuckle escaped Jamie, and the warmth of the room enveloped her like a cozy blanket. Oh, I definitely wouldn't mind that. The boys cheered loudly, their laughter filling the air. Mia leaned in, her voice sweet and serious. See, Mom? You're inspiring. Something shifted within Jamie. Could this simple connection, a child's innocent excitement, provide a way for her to reclaim her sense of purpose? Suddenly, Anna's earlier compliment echoed in her mind. A beautiful family. A meaningful impact. Maybe it was time to open that door, to step beyond just surviving day-to-day and embrace this gift of inspiration that her children had shared with her. But just as that thought settled in, Jamie felt a slight tug at her sleeve. She turned to see Anna standing nearby, her expression unreadable yet inquisitive. Jamie's pulse quickened. Hey, Max. Anna spoke, cutting through the buoyant chatter. That's quite a compliment you gave Jamie. It seems you're one of her biggest fans today. Instantly, tension coiled back into the air, unsettling Jamie in contrast to the warmth she'd felt moments earlier. Anna glanced toward Jamie, and something flickered, a mix of uncertainty and understanding in her gaze. In that moment, the gathering buzz around them faded, leaving just the three of them, Anna, Max, and Jamie, floating in this fragile space filled with unspoken questions and new potentials. What do you think? Anna asked thoughtfully, breaking the silence that had thickened between them. Would you be ready to share your stories with the kids? The challenge lingered in the air, leaving Jamie grappling with a whirlwind of possibilities. What would happen if she embraced this chance? Would it make a difference, not just for her, but for everyone involved? As Jamie searched Anna's eyes, she could see the flicker of hope mingling with a shared vulnerability, and for the first time, she wondered if they both had something to gain here. Could this be the path to mending more than just her past experiences but also the fragile thread of connection that had begun to stitch their lives together? Jamie took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment ripple through her. I think, she started slowly, it might be time to gather some stories for real. And as the warmth of potential pulsed around her, she knew that the real work was just beginning, the kind that could change everything. The anticipation hung in the air like a fragile thread, weaving through the laughter and chatter. Jamie's pulse quickened, a butterfly's wings stirring in her stomach. Could sharing her stories really light a spark of change? What if exposing her past would open a door for others, too? Max, with his bright eyes, clutched Ethan's arm, as if sensing the gravity building around them. You can do it, Jamie. He urged, his unfiltered hope casting a wave of courage over her. Jamie's mind raced. She thought of the community events she'd participated in, the moments where she truly felt alive, helping at shelters, organizing food drives, the thrill of watching people uplifted by simple kindness. Could these moments resonate with kids? Have you ever done a school assembly? Ethan's question broke into her thoughts. He was leaning in, wide-eyed, filled with a belief that felt contagious. No, Jamie admitted, her voice quiet, almost lost amid the giggles of the other children. I've never stood in front of a group like that. Anna shifted closer, her smile softening the tension that had hung between them like storm clouds. It's not just about sharing. It's about connecting. Kids are incredibly receptive. They listen, they care. And you have so much to offer them. Jamie gazed into Anna's eyes, searching for signs of encouragement. There, she found not just acceptance, but something like understanding. It was as if Anna saw parts of her past, fragile, imperfect, yet rich with lessons. Okay, Jamie found herself saying, the word tumbling out almost before she could catch it. I'll do it. I'll come to your school. Max erupted in cheers, jumping as if he'd just heard the best news ever. Yes. This is going to be epic. A wave of warmth washed over Jamie, pushing aside fears and doubts. Suddenly, it felt like the past, the struggles, the heartaches wasn't just hers to carry anymore. Maybe it could serve to inspire, a thread woven into other stories, too. Mia offered Jamie a side hug, nudging her playfully. You'll be amazing, Mom. Just think about all the chili you'll get to cook. The laughter erupted again, lifting the room further with a lightness that felt buoyant. Jamie couldn't help but laugh along, the sound weaving into the fabric of her new resolve. But beneath the surface, deeper thoughts were swirling. Would those stories of struggle resonate? Could each child catch a glimpse of resilience through her eyes? As she considered this, Jamie felt a flicker of concern. What if her past didn't inspire? What if it only cast shadows? As if reading her mind, Anna quietly said, you don't have to share everything right away, Jamie. Start small, with those moments that brought you joy. Jamie nodded, feeling a calm start to blossom amid her swirling thoughts. Yes. Start with joy. Max broke her moment of pondering with a question. Can you show us how to make the chili first? Jamie beamed. Absolutely. The shared excitement sparked an idea in Jamie. What if we made it a fun cooking session? cook and tell stories, all at once. Ethan clapped his hands, his excitement peaking again. That'll show them how helping can be fun. The children buzzed with new ideas, their carefree spirits igniting Jamie's inspiring vision. This could be more than just a session, it could become a vibrant gathering, where cooking united her love of helping with their eager hearts. As laughter filled the room, Jamie felt something swell within her. Could this connection weave together a future that opened even wider doors? The warmth enveloped her again, as if cocooning her in hope. But a whisper still lingered. Was she truly ready for this leap into vulnerability? As those thoughts settled like a feather in her heart, Anna gently placed her hand on Jamie's shoulder. It's going to be all right. You're not alone in this. With one final deep breath, Jamie realized it was time to step into the light of possibility. But the question nagged at her, would her leap of faith pay off? And as she prepared to embrace this journey, a small spark of fear flickered. Was she really ready to confront her past for the sake of something greater? Would this be the transformation she hoped for, or were there surprises lingering just around the corner? The next morning came too quickly, sunlight spilling through Jamie's window like golden confetti. She squinted at the clock, it was time to rise, but her mind whirled with uncertainties. As she shuffled to the kitchen, the smell of coffee brewed in the air helped steady her thoughts. With each sip, she envisioned the school assembly, the eager faces of kids waiting for her words, and she couldn't help but feel a rise of dread clawing at her. What if they didn't care? What if her stories fell flat? But then the image of Max cheering her on brightened her heart. "You can do it, Mom," echoed in her mind, fueling that small flame of determination. After breakfast, she gathered ingredients for the chili session with the kids. Her hands moved almost on autopilot, chopping onions, browning ground beef. Cooking always brought her comfort, a safe harbor to navigate through her whirlwind emotions. The gentle hiss of the meat hitting the pan mingled with her thoughts, urging her to focus on the joy cooking could bring. "Max! Mia!" She called out, her voice vibrating with excitement despite her nervousness. They bounded into the kitchen, their faces bright with anticipation. "Are we ready to be chili champions?" she asked, warm affection pulling at her lips into a smile. "Yes." They shouted in unison, their enthusiasm washing over her like a wave. After a flurry of chopping, stirring, and mixing, the kitchen transformed into a lively hub. The aroma of spices wafted through the air while laughter bubbled like the chili simmering on the stove. Jamie found herself reflecting on those simple moments, the ones that stitched families together around shared meals. "Okay, while the chili cooks, let us talk about our stories," Jamie suggested, her voice steadying as she decided to take it one step at a time. She knelt to meet the kids at eye level. "Can you both share a time when you felt really happy helping someone?" Max's eyes lit up, a little spark igniting. "I helped Dad fix the fence. He said I was a big boy. And I helped Grandma with her garden." Mia chimed in. "We planted flowers. She said they were the prettiest in the neighborhood." As they spoke, Jamie felt a gentle push of warmth envelop her, almost transporting her to those moments when she also felt a profound connection to others. The familiar tightness in her chest eased, and for the first time, she believed that maybe her stories could resonate, too. Those sound so special. Helping can be a beautiful thing. It's not just about what we do, it's how it makes us feel inside, she encouraged, feeling the passion for her message sharpen with delight. But just as the communal spirit surrounded them, a pang of doubt clenched her heart again. Were her past experiences really valid? Would the kids see the value in them? "Mom, can you tell us your happy stories too?" Max asked, his curiosity genuine. Jamie hesitated, reality slipping back in. "Of course, I will share, but only the happy parts for now." As they patiently awaited her stories, the pressure to open up loomed heavier within her. "Maybe starting small is the key," she murmured under her breath, reminding herself. With a deep, grounding breath, Jamie prepared to recount the stories that had built her into who she was today. She just hoped that her spoken memories would ignite a spark, opening hearts, and leading to the change she desired. But as she opened her mouth to speak, she could feel the past tangled around her like a vine, ready to choke out her courage. What if this wasn't just a story-sharing session? What if it pushed her to reveal more than she was comfortable with? A soft voice broke through her thoughts. "You're ready, Jamie." It was Anna, standing in the doorway, an encouraging presence radiating assurance. Would this leap into the unknown finally reveal a transformation, or would it simply amplify her fear? Jamie took a steadying breath, feeling the weight of expectation settle heavily on her shoulders. She glanced at Max and Mia, their faces alight with eager anticipation. It was heartwarming and terrifying all at once. "All right," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "Let me tell you about a time when I helped someone, and it didn't just feel good for them, it changed me too." She could see their eyes widen with interest. "When I was about your age, I volunteered at an animal shelter. I loved animals, but I was nervous meeting new people and I didn't feel like I was good enough to help. But one rainy Saturday, I decided to go anyway." Images of the shelter flooded back, cages lined the walls, and the sound of barking mingled with the patter of rain against the roof. "I was shy, but I met a little puppy named Buddy. He was scared and alone in a corner. So, I sat down on the floor and let him come to me. We ended up playing for hours. It turned out that my love and patience helped him feel safe." Mia's eyes sparkled. "What happened after that?" "After a while, Buddy got adopted. And I realized something important. When we help others, we also help ourselves. I felt braver and more confident. Each small act made me feel a little taller, a little stronger." Jamie chuckled lightly, remembering how proud she felt walking out of that shelter, even though her grandma's old raincoat was soaked through. She looked at Max and Mia. "I learned that every person, every little act matters. Just like how your stories matter." "Mom, can I tell a story too?" Max interjected, his voice bubbling with excitement. "Of course." He leaned in, his little hands clasping together eagerly. "Once in preschool, I shared my crayons with a friend. He was sad because he didn't have any. After that, we both drew dinosaurs. That's wonderful." Jamie replied, her heart swelling with pride. Mia grinned, "And I helped in the art class. I painted a rainbow and gave it to Ms. Ella because she looked tired. See?" Jamie smiled, swept up in their contagious energy. "You both have the spirit of helping. That's what makes a difference." At that moment, the timer dinged, signaling the chili was ready. Jamie stood, her heart racing with newfound courage. "Now, let us enjoy our chili champions feast," she announced, excitement bubbling inside her. As they lined up bowls and nestled around the dining table, the warmth of shared moments wrapped around them like a hug. "Mom?" Max said as he dipped his spoon in the chili. "Will you tell us another story? The one about the time you climbed a mountain?" Jamie paused, her breath catching at the thought of the mountain that had symbolized so much for her. She wanted to share that story, but it was also a beast more challenging to conquer than Buddy or a rainbow. Would she be able to navigate that terrain and the fears tied to it? "Maybe," she replied softly, not entirely sure where the answer lay. As they dove into the chili, laughter filled the air. But the mountain loomed in the corners of her heart, and the prospect of sharing that piece of her life hung heavy in her mind. The delicious aroma simmered alongside the tension, weaving an intricate tapestry of connection and hope. Would she embrace the challenge ahead and finally conquer the mountains within her? Or would the weight of unspoken stories hold her back once again? Jamie watched as Max and Mia savored their chili, their mouths full but their eyes sparkling with curiosity. They were so eager, so open to hearing her story. It made her heart swell and ache at the same time. But the mountain, it stood tall in her mind, blocking her from the sunlight of certainty. "What's the mountain about, Mom?" Mia asked between bites, her expression turning serious. Jamie took a deep breath, the warmth of the room wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. "It's a little different from Buddy and crayons. It's more about facing fears." She hesitated, unsure of how to open that door. Max put down his spoon, his tiny brow furrowed. "You can do it, Mom." I know, Jamie whispered. She picked at her bowl of chili, the flavors mixing into a swirl of nerves and nostalgia. A few years ago, I decided to climb a mountain in the national park Mount Jefferson. The name hung in the air for a moment. Jamie could almost feel the crisp mountain air and hear the rustling leaves. I thought it would be an adventure, a fun challenge. But that day, when I saw how steep it was, my heart dropped into my stomach. I felt so small compared to the towering cliffs. Max looked at her with wide eyes, clearly feeling the weight of her words. What happened then? I almost turned back, Jamie admitted, running her fingers along the rim of her bowl. But I remembered something important. Just like how I helped Buddy feel safe, I had to show myself the same kindness. I took it one step at a time. Images flooded back of her trembling feet, the chill of fear gripping her, but also the exhilaration of each small victory, the feeling of the rough path underfoot, the sound of her breathing steadying as she took in the beauty around her. With every step, I felt stronger. I realized that it wasn't just about reaching the top, it was about seeing how far I'd come. It changed something inside me. Mia frowned, looking concerned. Did you reach the top? Yes, I did. Jamie smiled, the memory bringing joy. When I finally stood there, looking out over the valley, I felt like I could do anything. It wasn't just a mountain, it was a big challenge in life. It taught me to embrace my fears instead of letting them hold me back. Wow, Mom! Max exclaimed, his excitement bubbling over again. You're a hero. Absolutely. Mia chimed in, her eyes sparkling with admiration. Jamie felt tears prick at her eyes. Thank you, but I think everyone has a hero inside them. It's about being brave enough to help yourself too. Max nodded, as if trying to absorb the weight of her words. So, we should be brave and help people? Yes, Jamie replied, a warm glow radiating from her heart. And help ourselves, too? Mia asked, tilting her head. Exactly, Jamie said, feeling a smile stretch across her face. As the dinner continued, the three of them shared laughter and stories, their connection deepening. Jamie felt lighter, almost as if the mountain had shifted from her heart. But what she didn't expect was a lingering question in the back of her mind. If she could climb that mountain, what other fears lay ahead, waiting to be faced? Mom, Max interrupted her thoughts, his gaze serious yet earnest. What's the next big challenge you're going to face? That question latched onto her heart with a mix of hope and uncertainty. Her laughter faded away slowly, paving the way for a new reality. Would she find the courage for whatever came next? The kitchen felt warm and welcoming, but a chill ran down Jamie's spine. Max's question hung heavily in the air, and she tried to gauge her own feelings. What was next? She took a deep breath, steeling herself against the uncertainty. As Mia corrected her chair with a soft scrape, the sound reminded Jamie of the noise of her climbing boots against the rocky trail. The images surfaced again, flickering in her mind like an old movie reel. Each footfall, each moment of doubt, it was a constant dance with her fears. Maybe she began, choosing her words carefully, it's about taking the next step, even when you don't know what's at the end of the path. Mia frowned slightly, as if trying to navigate through some adult puzzle. But what if the step is too big? Jamie smiled gently, recalling the moments spent teaching her children to ride bikes, the way their tiny bodies wavered before they found balance. Sometimes, small steps are the bravest ones. And it's okay to ask for help. Max nodded slowly, his eyes wide as he processed her words. Like asking for help when we're scared? Exactly. Even heroes need help sometimes, she said, her heart swelling with pride for her children. Suddenly, they heard a soft knock at the back door. Jamie's heart raced. Who could it be? It was late for visitors. She exchanged an anxious glance with her kids and put down her spoon. Let me check, she said, walking cautiously toward the door. As she opened it, a gust of chilly air rushed in. She was met by their neighbor, Mrs. Thompson, standing on the doorstep with a basket of freshly baked cookies. I thought I'd bring you something to brighten your night, she said with a warm smile. Mrs. Thompson. Thank you so much. Jamie's nervousness melted away, replaced by gratitude. Come in. As they shared cookies and warm tea, Mrs. Thompson's stories flowed freely, her laughter filling the kitchen with a joyful ambience. Jamie noticed how much her children were enjoying the unexpected visit, their eyes sparkling again, and for a moment, everything felt perfect. But as the laughter subsided and conversation meandered to the events of the neighborhood flooding fears of recent storms, the upcoming community picnic, Jamie felt a twinge of unease. Her earlier thoughts about facing fears resurfaced. What about her own physical health? Was she brave enough to confront her growing worries about her well-being? What's the hardest challenge you faced, Mrs. Thompson? Max suddenly asked, curious. The elderly woman took a sip of her tea and paused. Oh dear, there have been many. But I think it's when you have to face something by yourself, without anyone else. That's when you find out what you're truly made of. Those words struck Jamie like a lightning bolt. Was she truly facing her fears? Or was she skirting around them, avoiding the big conversations about her health that she desperately needed to have? Mom? Mia's voice broke through her thoughts. Are you okay? Jamie smiled, but it felt stretched. I was just thinking, she began, her voice softer than she intended. We all face challenges in different ways, don't we? At that moment, she realized that this visit, sparked by a simple act of kindness, was just what she needed to reflect deeper. Mrs. Thompson was a shining example of resilience, and Jamie felt compelled to tap into that bravery to face her own fears head-on. Next time, I'll share my story too, Jamie said finally, her resolve firming. Then we can see if we're brave enough together. As Mrs. Thompson nodded sagely, Jamie felt a stir of hope mix with her uncertainty. Perhaps facing her fears meant pulling back the curtain and exposing the truths she'd been hiding from herself. And as the night wore on, Jamie couldn't shake the feeling that the mountain of her health was looming larger than it ever had before. What would she find beneath the surface when she decided to confront it? That question echoed in her mind, and somehow, she knew she would have to find the answer soon. Jamie stood in her kitchen, a whirlwind of emotions tangled up inside. The sun dipped low, casting a warm glow over the room and wrapping around her like a cozy shawl. But there was still a heaviness and unspoken fear about her health that had been growing, whispering anxiously in the back of her mind. How could she ask for help when she felt so lost? Suddenly, the door opened, and Mia and Ethan rushed in, faces flushed and full of excitement. Mom! We made something for you. They shouted in unison, eyes sparkling with mischief. They carried a plate of cookies, the smell of chocolate chip and caramel oozing with love. Jamie's heart melted at their thoughtfulness. Oh, you two are rock stars. Thank you. She replied, beaming as she took the cookies from their small hands. The warmth of their affection made the shadows of doubt fade a little. Maybe together, they could face whatever was looming ahead. After a cozy chat filled with laughter, the kids retreated back to their usual antics, leaving Jamie still with her thoughts. Now was the moment, she realized, time to address the shadows that lingered around her. Gathering her breath, she pulled out her phone and dialed her doctor's office. Each ring felt like a question pulsing through her body, heart racing until finally, the receptionist answered. Hello, Dr. Price's office. How can I help you? Hi, it's Jamie. I'd like to schedule an appointment, she said, the trembling in her voice betraying the strength she hoped to exude. The words hung in the air like a fragile thread. This was the first step, the leap she needed to take. Of course, Jamie. Would next week work for you? Yes, that would be great, she murmured, relief washing over her with every word. This was the start, a bite-sized piece of bravery in the uncertain world that lay ahead. Time moved differently after that call. Each day felt like bricks being laid down to build a new path. She cooked with her kids, shared stories over dinner, and slowly began to weave the fear of her health into conversations, slowly but steadily teaching them about resilience. Sometimes, it's okay to need help, she told them in those gentle whispers. Days turned into a week, and the morning of her appointment arrived. The sun shone bright, streaking through her bedroom, illuminating the quiet determination on her face. She donned a simple blouse, the fabric soft against her skin, a reminder that comfort could come from within. As she drove to the clinic, anxiety buzzed beneath her skin like a swarm of bees. But she pushed through it, clutching the steering wheel as if it were an anchor. Once she arrived, Jamie took a deep breath, letting the warmth of the sun accompany her as she stepped into the building. The waiting room felt less daunting. She glanced around at others who bore their own quiet battles, and for the first time, she didn't feel alone. As her name was called, a rush of courage filled her. This was her moment. "Hi, Jamie. It's good to see you." Dr. Price smiled warmly, making the sterile white walls feel a little more inviting. As the appointment unfolded, Jamie slowly opened up, sharing her anxieties, her fears about her gut health, and how it tied into her feelings of worth. Each word felt like peeling off layers of an onion, revealing raw vulnerability and strength. "I've been avoiding this for too long," she admitted, her voice thick with emotion. "I thought if I ignored it, it would go away. But I realize now that facing it is my way of helping not just myself, but my kids too." Dr. Price's nod felt reassuring. "You're doing an amazing job, Jamie. It's not just about health, it's about facing life's challenges with kindness, for yourself and for your family." That day, a weight lifted as Jamie's journey began to take new shape. With guidance, she set a plan in motion, specific changes to her diet, exploring new ways to nourish her body. Fruit and vegetables no longer felt like a burden, instead, they glistened with possibility. Weeks rolled by, and as each day passed, Jamie felt a brighter glow within her. She swung into the diner with renewed spirit. Customers began to notice the light in her eyes, and the kitchen became a flurry of laughter and new recipes. The community potluck sparked not just connections among neighbors but also within herself. One afternoon, she was met with warm smiles at the diner from familiar faces that once felt so distant. "Hey, Jamie." It was Anna, the critic turned friend. "I wanted to tell you how much your last story at school moved me. You're inspiring people." The warmth of those words enveloped her, igniting a sense of pride. "Thank you," Jamie responded, her heart swelling. "But I'm also learning how to inspire myself." Friends began to gather at her kitchen, the spirit of community fueling vibrant gatherings filled with food, laughter, and shared experiences. With every moment, they broke bread together. She saw her resilience reflected in the community she had struggled to connect with. Jamie felt lighter, freer. As nighttime fell, she directed her children to the dinner table and set down a steaming pot of her famous chili with a new twist of added ingredients for health. "Okay, my little chefs, my heroes. Dinner is served." Their delighted giggles filled the room as they dug in, smiles illuminating their faces. "Mom, you really did it," Mia exclaimed, her mouth full of flavor. "You're a superhero in cooking and health." "Yes." Ethan cheered, nodding earnestly. And at that moment, Jamie realized she wasn't just transforming her own life. She was crafting a legacy of courage for her children, where every dish told a story, where every hurdle faced made the next leap feel possible. With that, she made a silent vow. It wasn't just about being brave for her children, it was learning to be brave for herself. And that was where true transformation began. She felt it deep inside, radiating like a beam of light, guiding her every step forward. Together, they laughed, they learned, and they grew. The warmth of community wrapped around them, and Jamie knew whatever challenges lay ahead, she was ready to face them head on, heart open wide. This was not just an ending, this was the beginning of the rest of their lives, the journey of becoming something far greater than just a diner owner, a family forged in resilience, love, and hope. Let us share these stories. Remember, if you resonate with Jamie's journey of transformation and health, you need to subscribe to the channel now for more uplifting tales and motivation. Leave a like to support the journey and feed the algorithm spreading inspiration. Do you relate to Jamie's story? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support makes a huge difference.